नमस्कार। देश की सबसे बड़ी पंचायत में लोकहित की चर्चा के कार्यक्रम संसद संवाद में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं अमृता चौरसिया। संसद के बजट सत्र में खनन क्षेत्र को खोलने और विदेशी निवेश को आकर्षित करने के उद्देश्य से खनिज कानून संशोधन विधेयक 2020 राज्यसभा में पारित कर दिया गया। विधेयक से कोयले के अंतिम उपयोग पर लगे प्रतिबंध को हटा लिया गया है। साथ ही कोयला और लिग्नाइट की बोली में हिस्सा लेने वाली कंपनियों के पास पूर्व अनुभव होने की बाध्यता समाप्त कर दी गई है। आइए देखते हैं देश के खनन क्षेत्र के विकास के लिए लाए गए इस विधेयक पर सदन में हुई चर्चा का अहम सारांश।
The next bill, the Mineral Laws Amendment Bill 2020, there is a statutory resolution moved by Mr. K.K. Rakesh, Mr. Subramanian Reddy.
Resolution.
Mr. Subramanian Reddy,
I move the resolution.
Mr. Alamaran Karim, not present.
And sir, 2 minutes. Sir, this is again an ordinance, and in fact this bill was passed by the other house in DIN, and now we are going to discuss this bill. And sir, it seeks, in fact the ordinance has already lifted all the restrictions on mining sector, and it has already been opened for foreign and private players. In fact, the statement of objects and reason
Yes.
that says
Yes, Rakesh,
that
please,
the mining leases of
When you are given an
334
opportunity, please
mines are going
try
to be
confine
expired.
within the time.
But unfortunately, the bill is not, the explanation is not justifying the content of the bill.
Okay.
In fact,
Resolution
it is
moved.
going to be,
Now,
going to be
please.
open for private and
Sri
foreign
Paral
players.
Joshi to move
Thank
a
you, sir.
motion for consideration of the Mineral Laws Amendment Bill 2020.
The Mines and Minerals
You first move it.
Regulation Act 1957 and to amend the Coal Mine Special Provision Act 2015 as passed by Lok Sabha be taken into consideration.
Motion moved.
Sir, Mines and Mineral Development Act 1957 was enacted as the Act itself says in 1957 for a planned development of our rich minerals and also the coal reserves, which is one of the highest in the world, sir. The MMDR Act 1957 was amended many times, but further in 2015, that was a landmark amendment which was made. The most important feature of this amendment was transparency and the removing of the discretion in the allocation of the mineral concessions. Sir, as you know very well, wherever there is a discretion, I am not telling this government, this party or that party. Wherever there is discretion, there will be corruption. So method of allocation of mineral concession was shifted from the first come, first serve basis to a transparent method of e-auction. This was a game changer, and discretion was totally abolished. In this amendment, a transition period of minimum 15 years for the captive mines and 5 years for the non-captive mining leases granted before the commencement of MMDR Act 2015 was included to ensure the uninterrupted supply of the raw material to the industry. The mining lease in respect of 334 mines, iron ore mines, manganese ore and chromite are expiring on 31st March 2020, out of which 46 are working non-captive mines. It is observed that some of the states have initiated the auction well in advance. However, the mines allocated can't start the mining operation without statutory clearance. They need to take around 20 statutory clearances before operating. This process will cause the inordinate delay. To overcome that delay, certain amendments were very much essential and needed in order to prevent the disruption, supply of raw material, especially the iron ore to the industry. An ordinance was promulgated in which new section 8B provision and 8A4 were inserted along with the amendment of section 10C. In this MMDR Act, by inserting the new clause 4B, after the granting, we will give them 2 years time to operationalize it, to produce it. So since we are adding 8B also, section 8B is also new section is going to be inserted, by which almost all the 20 clearances which they need to take will be automatically transferred for the 2 years, including FC and EC. These 2 years, the government prescribes in how many exact time they should start the production. To insert the provision section 8A subsection 4, the MMDR Act, to enable the state government to take advance action. Actually, it expires on 31st March 2020, but we are enabling the state government to start the auction well before March 31st, 2020. And as already mentioned, 8B Act, new section 8B, which provides for the deemed vesting of the all valid rights, approvals, clearances, license, and like vested with the previous lessee for the period of 2 years to new lessee as per the condition prescribed by the central government. And as you know, sir, there are exploration activity compared to the world. It is very less in India because private participation is not there. Only few government agencies are doing it. So non-exclusive reconnaissance permit mein, we are amending section 10C for the incentive for the exploration of deep-seated mineral and the nationally imported minerals and further action. As far as coal is concerned, as we know, India is the 4th largest reserve in the world. But still then, we are importing, sir. Sir, I can understand. मैं ये मानता हूँ कि अगर हम ऑयल, पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं, I am ready to accept it. But we are importing the coal having the 4th largest resource in the world. एक बार मुझे प्रधानमंत्री में ये विभाग के कार्यभार मुझे उन्होंने देने के बाद मुझे ये कहा, मैं मानता हूं अगर पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट इंपोर्ट होता है तो मैं मानता हूं, अगर कोल इंपोर्ट होता है तो ये एक पाप है. कीपिंग दैट इन माइंड, having so much of coal, but the per capita electricity consumption in India is just 1,180 kilowatt hour, which is lowest almost in the major, if you compare it to the major countries of the world. China, it is 4,600 kilowatt hour. USA, it is 12,600 kilowatt hour. Japan, 6,800. Under such situation, we need to increase our electricity production to meet the growing need of the economy. And our 3/4 of our total electricity is produced from the coal. And as you know, power and economy are both related. If you increase the power production, then it will add to the economy also. It is also mentioned that per capita CO2 is also, emission is also very less. But still, we are taking a lot of care about the environment, planting of the trees, and utilizing of the mine water. All such things we are doing. Sir, I would also like to add one thing here. Today, if we don't use our coal, after 20-25 years, this coal, at least in another coming 3 decades, this coal will become as good as mud. Nobody will ask for this. So keeping in that mind, I appeal to the all state government also. Recently, the Odisha government has cooperated and and they only suggested some amendments, and which has resulted very well in Odisha. I thank this particularly Odisha government.
You will speak after the discussion also.
Now I will complete. Keeping that in mind, I appeal to the all state government also. During the allocation of coal blocks under the MMDR Act, Coal Mine Special Project, now CMSP Act में मैं 2 मिनट बोल के खत्म करता हूँ sir. The CMSP Act provide for the allocation of the coal mines which were cancelled by the Honorable Supreme Court, but not to interrupt. I mean, there should not be interruption in the production. The continuation was allowed in the CMSP Act. However, there were some problem, especially there was no provision for PL, that is PL cum ML, there was no provision. That was added, and as for Schedule 2 and Schedule 3 mines are concerned, there was a end-use restriction which we are removing because 204 which were cancelled. When we went for the allocation, around 98 we allocated, but remaining, in recent tranche, the required response has not come for the end-use restriction. To overcome the aforesaid difficulties, both in coal and mining sector, including the CMSP Act, we have brought in some changes. And also one important thing I would like to add here, Section 5 and Section 17A also we are amending. That was providing the previous approval. Coal block हम ही आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, हम ही वो कोल ब्लॉक देते हैं. जब माइनिंग लीज के लिए स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास जाते हैं, तब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट फिर से हमारे पास भेजता है प्रीवियस अप्रूवल दे दो. दिस प्रीवियस अप्रूवल एंड रिजर्वेशन के लिए फिर से जो हमारे पास आता था अंडर 5 and 7A, दैट वी आर गोइंग टू amend. This is in line with the Modi government's policy of minimum government and maximum governance. This will avoid delay of almost 8 to 10 months for the operationalization.
Yes.
Keeping all these in mind, and 11A also we are amending for composite prospecting cum leasing mining license as far as coal is also concerned, and that by that more players will participate. Keeping in this in mind, we have brought in so many amendments, and which the entire sector will open, economy will boost. I appeal to the all section.
Yeah, that's the only point. Yes.
All section to support it, and this is by this more participation, more transparency, and more growth. With these words, I appeal to all the sections to pass it unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
खनिज कानून संशोधन विधेयक 2020 पर जारी है संसद संवाद. बने रहिए हमारे साथ. मिलते हैं ब्रेक के बाद.
भीड़भाड़ वाले इलाकों में ना जाएं. धार्मिक, सांस्कृतिक, मनोरंजन, शैक्षणिक आयोजन से लेकर खेलकूद की गतिविधियों से दूर रहें. संभव हो तो वर्क एट होम करें. काम के दौरान सहकर्मियों से 1 मीटर की दूरी बनाएं और गैर जरूरी यात्राओं से बचें.
संसद के बजट सत्र में खनन क्षेत्र को खोलने और विदेशी निवेश को आकर्षित करने के उद्देश्य से खनिज कानून संशोधन विधेयक 2020 राज्यसभा से पारित कर दिया गया. विधेयक से कोयले के अंतिम उपयोग पर लगे प्रतिबंध को हटा लिया गया है. साथ ही कोयला और लिग्नाइट की बोली में हिस्सा लेने वाली कंपनियों के पास पूर्व अनुभव होने की बाध्यता समाप्त कर दी गई है. आइए देखते हैं देश के खनन क्षेत्र के विकास के लिए लाए गए इस विधेयक पर सदन में हुई चर्चा का अहम सारांश.
Dr. Ami, please.
Thank you, sir. Sir, this was much needed, but looking to the amendments that have come forth, I'm very surprised that this has also gone the ordinance way. It should have been a full-fledged procedure that should have been followed for such an important amendment. However, now that it has been brought, Sir, I would just like to point out two lines from the statement of objects and reasons. It says, after enumerating the details of the Act of 1957, then also the Coal Mines 2015, and other data that is given in respect of mines and licenses issued earlier, to overcome the difficulties in the mining sector, it has become necessary to make certain amendments in the Mines and Minerals Act and the Coal Mines Act so as to facilitate seamless transfer of all valid rights, approvals, clearances, licenses, and the like for a period of 2 years to a new lessee in case of minerals other than coal, lignite, and atomic minerals. And that is, after this, the amendments have been listed. Sir, after having gone through the amendments and the changes that have been intended to be brought about, it clearly shows that some of the procedures have been done with. So two glaring things that come forth. Of course, the bill opens up the coal sector for commercial mining, allows domestic investors. It also allows global players to come in this sector, invest in this sector through the FDI route. And that's the way the FDI is going to be attracted. But the other factors that practically come with the baggage of FDI has to be looked into objectively, and that has not been taken care of in this particular bill. Sir, the two important things that have been in the amendments are, one is that there has been a liberalization or dilution of the eligibility criteria. And the other is that there is a removal of end-use restriction, and which I would just elaborate by just enumerating what is the issue lying here. Sir, when you are diluting the eligibility criteria, it says that you can come with 100% FDI by automatic route in the sector, but anyone who doesn't have a prior experience also can bid for this. Now, by removing this restriction, by diluting this particular aspect, I think we are talking about a very specific and a sector which has kind of expertise, and in that when you do not have an eligibility criteria, I think that needs to be dealt with in a very proper and a procedural manner. That is missing, and I think the minister will have to say what do they mean by just diluting this criteria, and how will they evaluate whoever comes in the bidding process. The second thing that the amendment says is that you have removed the end-use restriction. So whoever gets the end-use product can use for own consumption. And now, if that is the provision that is sought to be made in the Mines and Minerals Act, we are talking of national and natural resources of the country. And if that is the rationale behind opening up the sector for FDI, are you exposing the national or the natural resources to foreign investors, specifically and specially? When you are talking about sustainable development, you are making a commitment at the international level on climate change. Sir, we are talking about coal, and we are talking about usage of coal in energy or in manufacture of power or getting these kind of end products. And if you think that by removal of this clause, the end use is going to be given to the discretion of the person who is going to use that, what is the law, or what are you proposing, or what action are you going to propose to restrict this particular restriction? That is not there. The removal is completely blatant and is kind of a blanket which is given. So these two criteria are kind of giving some kind of a sense that what is this FDI route which you are allowing, and what is this coal consumption or opening of this sector to private companies or domestic investors or foreign investors by giving them the access to our natural resources and allowing them to use them the way they are. Sir, one other factor which the amendment is talking about is the approval processes and transfer of approvals. Somewhere I think the central government is not required. In some places the state government is required to take permission. So how do you decide this particular or kind of whether it is a convenient kind of methodology or a convenient kind of largesse you are giving to the central government or to itself or to the state governments. These are sectors which belong to specific states. And if these approval systems do not have a proper channel and a proper procedure laid down, the amendments are completely silent. And this 2-year period which you have mentioned, that yes, the erstwhile person who is having the mining lease, sir, the statutory right, the statutory approval, statutory licenses which go with that particular mining lease or mining license, I think there is no mention how will you kind of cross-check why this automatic transfer of these rights will go to the new person who is bidding for this auction, when that earlier, when the criteria, basic criteria of selecting that person and allowing the person to come in the auction itself is not clarified in the amendment. So these are two very big ambiguities in the amendment, need to be plugged. And one other factor, sir, which is very important and which has been given a complete go-by. When you're opening the route for FDI, in such a sensitive sector, such a sector where the Honorable Apex Court has come into the picture and cancelled the allotments, so there is no mention of the welfare of the people, health of the people who are there, communities of the people, and the most important is the ecosystem's fragility and environment clearances. Sir, the impact assessment, which earlier used to take environment impact assessment 2006, there have been many amendments. But what about the mining part, which is not mentioned? So this important, of course, the route is opening the sector. We need FDI in the country. FDI brings with it technology know-how, it brings with it investments, much needed for the economy. But when you are not dealing with the most important factors about transport of coal, which will result into air pollution, and not pinning down that polluter pays principle, which is absent here, on the end consumption or the person who is going to have the result of the end consumption, and absence of regulatory mechanism for this particular transport of coal by these private players in this sector is missing. How are you going to deal with that? And this is going to be, again, I hear ministers after ministers talking about frivolous litigation. There should be no more litigation in the courts. But you are opening a Pandora's box where I think people would go for the rights to the courts. One last suggestion, sir, there should be within the Ministry of Mines some kind of an intra-ministerial wing which should take care of all these subjects. Then and then what you have mentioned in the statement of objects and reasons, that a seamless process or a single window kind of process, it is becoming immensely difficult for people who invest, especially people who come from transborder companies, that they have to go for all these statutory rights. Well, all this transparency is required if you really want to attract FDI in this sector. And so these amendments do not address these two issues, and these need to be taken care of. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ashwini.
At the outset, I will declare my interest. I am running a company which is dependent upon minerals, especially iron ore, limestone, coking coal. With that declaration right up front, I greatly support this bill, sir. So this is a very timely bill, and this bill basically amends two acts. One is the MMDR Act and second is the CSMP Act, sir. What are these acts? Mines and Mineral Development Act basically deals with all the mines which are non-coal and non-lignite and non-atomic energy, these minerals. Second is the Coal Mines Special Provision Act. That act was brought when the Honorable Supreme Court cancelled all the mining leases which were allocated in the previous regime, and a new regime was created, sir. With this as the background, sir, what should be the objective of an economic policy? I'd like to start my presentation saying that this particular amendment, this ordinance, which is now getting converted into a bill, is primarily focused on protecting employment. Sir, कोई भी economic policy है, उसका सबसे मूल उद्देश्य क्या होना चाहिए? What should be the fundamental objective of any economic policy? First and foremost thing should be how much employment is that policy or that act generating or protecting, sir. This particular bill which has come today, right, I mean, this is one of the fundamental bill which protects employment in a large sector which is dependent upon the mines which are about to lapse on 31st March 2020, sir. What are these mines, sir? I'll come slight details, sir. There are about 334 mines, out of which 46 are working mines producing about 60 million ton ore. All are supplying to the downstream industries in the steel sector, in the chrome sector, and many of them in the other sectors. All these industries were totally dependent upon these mines for their fundamental raw material. About 800 units are dependent, sir, and about approximately, as per my estimate, about 2 lakh people, 2 lakh jobs were dependent upon these mines. If there would have been a disruption in these mines, this would have caused great economic havoc, a very big human issue in all these mines, in all these industries. It would have caused a series of NPAs, it would have caused job losses. So it's a very timely ordinance which, Honorable Minister, I really thank you for bringing this. And it has given confidence in the entire steel sector that yes, the government is aware of the issues, it is willing to bite the bullet and willing to take the timely actions. Now, what is happening to these mines which are expiring? In a very nice collaborative federal mode, the Government of India and the Government of Odisha have worked hand in hand, in sync, in proper synchronization, and have completed the auction of about 20 mines which will continue the supply of iron ore and chrome to the entire steel industry. So I thank Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Chief Minister of Odisha for this very nice synchronized action which will save more than 2 lakh jobs in the steel sector, sir. So my state, Odisha, I represent Odisha in this house, sir. We are extremely thankful for this auction process. The 20 mines which have been auctioned, as per the preliminary estimates, the state of Odisha will get about 4 lakh crore revenue over the lifetime of these mines at the current value and at the current level of the resources. If by better scientific exploration, if the resources increase, then this amount will even increase. And if the value of the minerals increases, then there will be a further increase in the revenue which will come to the states. Imagine the potential of this policy decision which Honorable Mines Minister Shri Praladji Joshiji has taken, sir. On an average, about Odisha will get about 20,000 crore revenue, sir. One AIIMS costs about 1,000 crore, sir. इसका मतलब उड़ीसा में हर साल 20 एम्स खोले जा सकते हैं। एक नवोदय विद्यालय में करीब 100 करोड़ के आसपास का इन्वेस्टमेंट आता है। 20,000 करोड़ से 200 नवोदय विद्यालय हर साल खोले जा सकते हैं। इसका मतलब हर ब्लॉक में एक वर्ल्ड क्लास स्कूल खोला जा सकता है। इतना पोटेंशियल है इस पॉलिसी का। जो इसको एक अलग नजरिए से देखते हैं, उनको ये ह्यूमन एंगल भी देखना चाहिए। ये मेरा निवेदन है। इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी बढ़ेगी और सबसे फंडामेंटल चीज़, सर, सबसे फंडामेंटल चीज़, आज तक ये होता था कि जहाँ पर भी मिनरल है उस एरिया के लोगों को क्या मिला, ये क्वेश्चन हमेशा पूछा जाता। 2015 में जब MMDR में अमेंडमेंट लाया गया, उसमें एक बहुत सुंदर क्लॉज डाला गया डिस्ट्रिक्ट मिनरल फंड का। डिस्ट्रिक्ट मिनरल फंड में जिस डिस्ट्रिक्ट में मिनरल प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है उसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट को एक सिग्निफिकेंट अमाउंट मिलता है। आज तक 35,925 करोड़ रुपीस DMF में इकट्ठे हो चुके हैं। मैं आपको नंबर देता हूं, सर। उड़ीसा स्टेट में 9,501 करोड़, झारखंड स्टेट में 5,181 करोड़, छत्तीसगढ़ में 4,980 करोड़, कर्नाटक में 1,842 करोड़। इस तरह करीब करीब हर एक स्टेट में, MP में, राजस्थान में, तेलंगाना में, हर स्टेट में डिस्ट्रिक्ट मिनरल फंड इकट्ठा हुआ। दिस इज अ ग्रेट thing for every district, for the local people who are affected by the mining industry, sir. Sometimes negatively, but this is a very positive impact, sir. मैं सर सेकेंड पॉइंट पे आऊँगा। कोल माइंस के अमेंडमेंट का, कोल CSMP के अमेंडमेंट का इस बिल में प्रोविजन है। ये क्या है, सर? ये अमेंडमेंट क्या है? ये अमेंडमेंट, अभी अमी जी बोल रहे थे, इस अमेंडमेंट में फंडामेंटली कोल सेक्टर में एक इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी किस तरह से बढ़े वो प्रोविजन लाया गया है सर। कैसे बढ़े सर? आज इंडिया में रिक्वायरमेंट करीब करीब 965 मिलियन टन का है सर, और हम प्रोडक्शन करते हैं केवल 730 मिलियन टन, यानी 235 मिलियन टन आज भी हमको इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता है कोल। सर, जिस देश में 1,10,000 करोड़ का टन्स का रिजर्व हो, वो कंट्री अगर 235 मिलियन टन इंपोर्ट करे तो हम सबके लिए शर्म की बात है सर। क्या हमारे हाथों में इतनी ताकत नहीं है कि हम और मिनरल प्रोडक्शन कर सकें? क्या हमारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स में इतनी एनर्जी नहीं कि हम नए से नए डेवलपमेंट ला सकें? इसी भावना को लेकर किस तरह से हमारे यहाँ रोजगार बढ़े, किस तरह से हम ये पैसा इंडोनेशिया या ऑस्ट्रेलिया या किसी दूसरे देश न भेजें, इसी भावना के साथ ये ओपन किया गया है कोल के सेक्टर को सर। और अम्मी जी कह रही थी कि एंड यूज रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हटा दिए गए। मैं बहुत प्रैक्टिकल बात बताता हूँ, नाम नहीं लूँगा। एक इंडस्ट्री जिसके पास बहुत बड़ी माइन है, उसमें आप जैसा जानते हैं हर माइन में कई तरह का ग्रेड निकलता है। एक अच्छा ग्रेड होता है, लोअर ग्रेड होता है, मीडियम ग्रेड होता है, कहीं लंपी ओर होता है, कहीं पे फाइन्स होता है। इंडस्ट्री को अगर इन 10 में से केवल 2 प्रोडक्ट यूज करने होते, बाकी 8 का क्या होगा? वो वेस्ट जाएंगे। तो क्या वेस्ट करना ठीक है, या उसको जिनके लिए वो प्रोडक्ट उपयोगी हो उनको देना ठीक है? जब हम एंड यूज रिस्ट्रिक्शन किसी भी माइन पे लगा देते हैं तो हम प्रैक्टिकली उसको एक एंड इंडस्ट्री को एक छोटे से नैरो से बंधन में बांध देते हैं। वो नहीं करना चाहिए। दैट इज इकोनॉमिकली इनएफिशिएंट एंड दैट इज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट ओरिएंटेड पॉलिसी। वो नहीं करना चाहिए। जितना हो सके माइनिंग इंडस्ट्री को माइनिंग इंडस्ट्री की तरह देखना चाहिए, उसके एंड यूजर्स को एंड यूजर्स की तरह डेवलप करने देना चाहिए। तो ये बहुत अच्छा प्रावधान लाए हैं माननीय मंत्री जी, मैं इसका स्वागत करता हूं।
खनिज कानून संशोधन विधेयक पारित होने से खान आवंटन से जुड़ी करीब 20 प्रकार की मंजूरियों के लिए भी आवंटित कंपनी को 2 वर्ष का समय दिया गया है। चर्चा के दौरान कुछ सदस्यों ने खनन क्षेत्र को खोले जाने को लेकर अपनी चिंताएं भी सदन के सामने रखी। अगले अंक में हम फिर हाजिर होंगे अन्य सदस्यों की राय और कोयला और खान मंत्री के जवाब के साथ। तब तक के लिए हमें दीजिए इजाजत। नमस्कार।